Hello everyone, Pally here. Welcome back to Path of Exile 2. It has been quite a long time since we made content for this game, but I returned for the 0.5 patch and the release of the new season, the Runes of Aldur, which came out about a week ago. I am currently a level 81 Oracle Druid, and I'm playing as exclusively a Wyvern. This is one of the coolest druid forms I have ever seen in any video game. I'm able to breathe fire. It's green because of some microtransaction stuff. I'm able to shoot oil and lightning across the entire screen. And really, mapping comes down to just pressing 2 buttons. It's really, really smooth. So I wanted to make today's video to show you guys how the build works, talk about some of the pain points I had during the campaign. But one of the main reasons I'm making the video right now is I'm closing in on my 3rd ascendancy point. I believe I can complete the Trial of Sechamus pretty soon. And once I do that, Forced Outcome is going to be unlocked, which gives me inevitable critical hits. That sounds absolutely ridiculous. And once we unlock that, we are going to have to go back through our passive setup and clean this up a little bit, get more of a focus on crit. But I'm going to be walking you guys through the whole build in today's video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me jump into a map and I'll show you what the gameplay looks like so you can see if it's for you. This is a level 10 map. This is the highest level yellow tier map, and we're just about to break into the red tier. And this is what our clear looks like. So basically, I can walk up to an enemy and swing at them with my fists. And I typically do that on the first enemy that spawns, even though we could shoot this little bit of oil at them, not a big deal. As soon as we make a body, we can consume the body with Devour, which allows us to eat a dead guy. And when we eat them, we gain a power charge. We can then expend these power charges on Oil Barrage to infuse the ability with lightning. So our clear now looks like this, and we can continue to channel Oil Barrage as long as we have these power charges to fund it. These power charges are going to be drained the longer you're channeling the ability, but basically I jump in, AoE one time, eat the body of someone that I killed, and then continue to map around, like basically stopping as I moved a screen away from where I was, and then we sit down and AoE again. Elites, normal enemies, and bosses alike mostly fall over to just Oil Barrage alone. But if you do need more DPS, you can consume these power charges another way, and that would be in our Flame Breath ability. Once again, by consuming a power charge, it becomes super powered, and then this is our highest direct damage ability that we have in our toolkit. This is what we use to single out very, very tough enemies and just absolutely annihilate them. That Flame Breath does work better if you have Rage in your system. So we put a support gem, and I'll go over all my gems really soon, but we put a support gem in my just normal basic attack, my rend that I'm cleaving everything with right now, which builds a red bar right here. And basically, once I reach maximum rage, we can then funnel that rage into our Flame Breath ability to get it to do even more damage. And you can see it's consuming that rage right now. Here we go. So Breach has been the main extracurricular activity, I definitely nailed pronouncing that I've been doing. And it's so easy with this build. You literally just cast Oil Barrage in the corners of the level. I have already, like, gone to the next step of the Breach. It took absolutely no effort at all. If we wanted to build Rage here to single target these guys down, we could. What I'm going to do is just walk in with another Oil Barrage, though. And as you can see, the entire Breach just takes care of itself. It's so easy. So this is the new seasonal event. It's like a rune stone, and you can go up to it, fill in the rune words, and then do a little combat event. We also completely excel at this because all you have to do is stand next to the objective and AoE. So we can clear these out effortlessly too. Most enemies don't even get the opportunity to attack us during this event. And it's as easy as that. Thank you. Fighting bosses creates some of its own challenges, though. I'm going to go ahead and let these power charges fall off to show you. Basically, we can't cull bosses, and we can't eat bodies of bosses because they usually are just a single enemy by themselves. Now, they may have an ad phase that we can take advantage of, but not every boss has that, so we can't leave that up to chance. So how we generate power charges versus bosses is with Lingering Illusion. We simply dive around, and as they attack our illusions, they are going to be generating power charges that we can pick up. The other thing we're doing is building Rage. We go in with our auto attacks and do these sweeping attacks at the enemy, so we can just build a little bit of Rage and then absolutely unload with a monstrous amount of damage. Now, sometimes this cast will be interrupted. I don't know if it's a bug or not. I've only noticed it since I've got the ability up to 20 quality, so maybe it is. Word for the wise. But if you ever get interrupted with your W ability, you are going to have to wait for the cooldown to come back, and it can be a little excruciating. But if everything goes well, bosses just fall right over. For the record, I know you can be stunned out of Flame Breath. What I'm referring to is like, I'll have full rage, no enemies on screen, absolutely nothing dealing damage to me, and somehow I still don't get the full channel out like that. If anyone else has run into that problem, let me know. I want to be very clear though, 99% of the time, the build operates flawlessly. The only downside is you have to stand still so much to channel. There's a reason movement speed is one of the best stats on every pair of boots that you look for. It's because not only does it give you more XP per hour, you're moving around more, you're killing stuff, being able to dodge damage is really, really valuable, and we can't do that. Now that you've seen the gameplay, here are the gems that are supporting it. First of all, with Oil Barrage, we are using rapid attacks into Salvo. Salvo's really interesting with this. It gives us charges as we're just sitting around doing nothing. Basically, it's generating seals every single second. Projectiles from this skill are fired in random directions when you are expending these seals. And we can very easily get to 6, channel for the full duration with power charges, and then while we're sitting there channeling, another 6 will generate. So we're always just sending oil barrages in every direction. To go along with that even more, we picked up Ricochet 2 and Dominus Grasp, which makes Ricochet skill even more. And to get everything to fire around us in a circle all the time, we are also adding in Nova Projectiles 1. This Flame Breath may be subject to change as we get into crit, but it's been working really well for me so far. Rapid attacks into Bergen 2, Elemental Armament 2, Rage Forged, and then Momentum. Because we're building Rage anyway, that's just extra free damage. That's how I was looking at it. Momentum is also free damage because we can control where we're going. All we need to do is move a little bit and then direct our fire back at the main enemy for a very sizable damage increase. We have 2 different ways of generating power charges. One is Devour, which is when we call an enemy or eat their dead body. We have rapid attacks, just so that goes off a little bit faster. Charge Profusion, so we have a chance to get more charges. And then Thrill of the Kill. If I do call an enemy instead of eating their body, I deal even more lightning damage. And again, another really important part of the ability is Lingering Illusion. As we dive around, we're reserving a little bit of spirit to create these illusions, and this is what bosses are going to be using to give us power charges. To go along with that, we have Charge Profusion, Prolonged Duration 2, Harmonic Remnants 2, and Empowered Sparks. I've experimented with a lot of different Herald abilities. At one point, I was way into Dex, but recently I have gone back on that a little bit. I'm using Herald of Ice as one of my big damage dealers, one of my core effects that I'm going to keep around for a very long time. And basically what I'm saying is when the build goes crit, I'm probably still going to have this. I don't think I'm going to have Herald of Ash once the build goes crit. Going into Herald of Ice, we do have Magnified Area 2, then Armor Break 3, along with Uruk Smelting to fully break the physical defenses of our enemies. Long shots deal more damage to enemies that are really far away. Basically, as I'm AoEing, those enemies on the edge of the screen are going to take more damage from the Herald of Ice going off. And then Armor Explosion. Again, if we do fully break an enemy's armor, they're going to explode again. And then I do, once again, have Herald of Ash with Magnified Area, Prolonged Duration, and Fire Mastery. Basically, as I'm roaming around the map, this is just creating little patches of fire and exploding enemies for a little bit more damage. I would highly recommend picking up Lingering Illusion as your first kind of spirit ability, because just having another way of getting power charges versus a single enemy is incredibly valuable. And once this came online, the entire build felt much, much better. Last but not least, we have Rend. We shapeshift into a Wyvern and sling our claws in front of us. This can consume a power charge as well to increase the range of the ability. We have rapid attacks in this, along with Rage 3. This is the main way that we are building Rage to then empower the flame breath that we're using on bosses.
Time for that.
We are also using Embiter. I don't know if I said that right, but basically it does lightning damage. We infuse it with lightning damage. This is going to change it to extra cold damage instead. And then we also get Freeze. The idea is if I ever have to Rend, it's probably not a good situation, so I'm trying to crowd control, slow down anything that I happen to need to hit up until the point that I can either devour them for a power charge or dip away with that Lingering Illusion for a power charge. Really quickly, let's go over my gear too. It's nothing too special. This is the weapon we're using today. That increased physical damage on top is where most of your damage is going to be coming from. Even though we are dealing elemental damage, it is converted from our physical damage. Another thing really scaling our output quite a lot there is the +3 levels to all attack skills, which again, Oil Barrage and Flame Breath are considered attacks and not spells. In order to fuel these effects, we are going to need some extra spirit. So I have 51 spirit on my chest piece, along with just some resistances, and then 50 spirit on my necklace, along with resistances. You'll see in most cases, my gear is pretty boring. It's just max life and resistances in just about every category. In fact, I way overdid it. I have 149% cold resistance. So we could definitely move some gear around without running into too much issue. Of course, when you're looking at your boots, that increased movement speed is a big deal. We're going to be standing still a lot, but being able to move around maps is a godsend. Now, you may have noticed I am using a talisman, but I'm also using a scepter at the same time. And I want to be clear that I don't think this is required at all, but it does have some benefits. The only reason we're able to do this is because of the Lord of the Wilds passive over here, which allows us to wield a scepter with our talisman, a non-unique scepter with our talisman. I think this is mostly used for pet builds, if I had to guess. However, there is a particular talisman that gives Malice as a passive ability. And what Malice does is make enemies more susceptible to crits. That sounds amazing. So we're kind of future-proofing a little bit. We're not crit build right now, but we will be soon. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the passive tree. This is the part of the game that everyone finds very intimidating when they are a new player, but we're going to break this down like it's nothing. And this is going to be changing quite a lot as we transition into crit, just for the record. But starting at the Druid location in the center, we have to go northwest. We made our way over to Guardian of the Wilds, Radial Force, and Bastion of the Forest for some pretty strong upgrades early on. I then broke out northwest, going through these damage increases and making my way over to the channel passives, because of course we're going to be spending a lot of our time sitting still channeling. So Focus Channel and this one over here just make that a little bit easier to do. Around these two nodes, I also got Lust for Power, which gives us 1 extra power charge. That means we can channel that Oil Barrage significantly longer with more power charges. And then Gifts of the Plains over here gives us another power charge as well. Now, this is the interesting part. You may notice some of this passive tree has blue lines instead of the normal golden. Those blue lines are all coming from the unseen path. Walk the paths not taken. By picking Oracle and grabbing this Ascendancy node, we give ourselves more passives on the passive tree. And some of these can be really interesting. It gives you a lot of different options. For instance, if I was swapping out of Wyvern, I'm not, I could use this as a shortcut to get to this side of the Atlas tree, which would be unavailable to us otherwise. But it also adds on a little bit of extra in some areas. So after this power charge, Gift of the Plains was one of them. So after grabbing this channel increase, I went down here, then grabbed all of these lightning increases that I could, But when I got the Unseen Path, it gave us even more lightning to pick up here. So it's adding even more lightning onto our attacks, which is super duper good. Same kind of situation here. I had Swift Claw, but then when we had Path of the Unseen, I was able to get even more elemental damage while shapeshifted. We then made our way to the west to grab the Unquenchable Iron to give us more lightning damage before going back to our main line and grabbing Hide of the Bear and Spirit of the Wyvern, along with the Electrified Claw, just making us even more effective while we are shape-shifted. I already talked about this, but Lords of the Wild allows us to use that other scepter. This is completely optional. I don't think you need to pick that up, at least at this stage of the build. And then I made my way far to the east on the top line, working up towards Cower Before the First Ones, another Path of the Unseen talent, which ups our elemental and physical damage by quite a lot, before finally grabbing the Pure Power, 10% more maximum lightning damage. That's a big multiplier for us, and Electric Amplification. I'll go ahead and just zoom out here, give you a good look at it, if you want to follow along at home. Now, if you're curious how this would change as we're going into crit, all you have to do is search for crit, and you can see there's an abundance of critical nodes around us, especially, critical damage we are very interested in and already very close to these nodes. So picking these up would be super duper easy to do. All in all, I would say I've really been enjoying this build, but also this patch in general. GGG did a lot of really good quality of life updates with 0.5 and just the way they designed the end game. It just makes me want to dive in every time. I feel like every time I pick up the game and I jump in, even if I'm just doing a couple maps now, it feels like I'm making progress towards something bigger. And it's kind of sinking its claws into me, dude. I'm having a blast this season. Now, that being said, I am going to give you guys a little bit of a like challenge, okay? The easiest one I have ever given you, because I do want to make the follow-up video. But at the same time, you guys know I'm an absolute altaholic. So, if you would like to see where this goes as a crit setup, I may even get cast on crit. I haven't decided. But if you want to see where this goes, if you want a follow-up video, make sure you hit that like button. If we get 500 likes, I will make it happen for you. However, if we don't get that many likes, I'll see you guys again, and I'll be playing some Essence Drain Contagion shit, because I love that, and it has been too long. It's been too long. I gotta see how that's doing right now. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button for me, and I'll see you all again really soon.